Hey y'all, it's Jamila, the writer of Color Me Crafty, and I'm back again with another tutorial for you. Today I'm going to show you how to cut these adorable little Valentines on your laser cutter. I don't have the Glowforge, I have a Chinese CO2 laser, so I'm going to walk you through with my laser, but you can do this also on a Glowforge. This is just on 1/8 inch ply. I use the utility ply from Home Depot. I'll make sure to link it below. And to color these, I used paint markers and chalk markers. So I'll walk you through all that. Before I get started with this tutorial though, if you're new here, go ahead and smash the subscribe button and turn on the little bell notification so you don't miss any of my videos. We have a lot of good stuff coming up. Also, make sure you drop me a comment below and let me know what you thought of this tutorial. When I am designing an SVG for my Cricut or for my laser cutter, I always like to start with the size that I can cut at. For these Valentines, I am going to start with a 19.5 by 11.5 canvas because that is the size of my bed. I don't need to change anything over here. I do want to make sure it's landscape because that's how the machine cuts. So I'm going to click on my custom size and then click create. I know I want these to be 2.5 by 3.5, so I'm going to start off by dragging a square, and then I'm going to go over here to properties. And if you don't see properties, you can go up to window and find properties and click it and it'll open. So I'm going to change the size of these, and I need to make sure that the maintain proportions is it has the strike through or whatever, so that it's not maintaining the proportions. I'm going to just change this to the size that I want them, and that's the size of that I want the card. First, I'm going to curve these edges just a little bit, and to do that, you have these little looks like bullseye circles. Let's blow that up bigger so you can see. You have these little bullseye circles here, and you just click and drag until you're satisfied with the curvature of your square or rectangle. So I'm going to leave this the size that we needed to see what we're doing basically. For my images for this card, I am going to use Adobe Stock Images, and those sync automatically to my Illustrator, but it's a great way to build designs and things like that if you don't have the skills and abilities to draw. The first thing I'm going to do is add the to and from lines. So click on my type tool and go ahead and type out the text that I want there. And I think I want a little bit more space in between those two. And I'm going to center. And then when you're using a laser, the line colors matter. So I'm going to change this to a red because that is what I use for my stroke colors. And because I don't want this to cut all the way through. And I want to cut out a little area up here. So the way I'm going to do that is make a square, and then it doesn't matter what the color right now for this square because it's just going to disappear. So I'm going to select both the rectangle and this little square that I just made, and I just want to center it horizontally. So now that it's centered, I'm going to go over here to Pathfinder. And again, if you don't see Pathfinder, you can go up to Window and open up your Pathfinder. With Pathfinder, you have these modes up here, and these first two are the ones that I use the most. It's Unite and to subtract the front, and that's what we're doing here. Is we're going to subtract the front out, and then as you can see, it moved that to the front of the image also. I just drug that layer to make it go behind the text. And I'm actually, we're gonna remove this. There we go. I'm gonna lighten this one up a little bit, this color up a little bit, just so we can keep seeing. And this will actually be solid wood, and the red part is actually going to just be a score line. So now we got to find some images to put in here. You can use the shapes that are over here, or you can use things that are in your library. I want to add some traditional Valentines clip art. So I already have the images that I want to use for these downloaded to my library. So I'm just going to search my library. And this is the image that I found that I wanted to use. And each of these are going to be its own group. So you'll have to remove anything that you don't want to use in your image. So we're going to start with this penguin, and when you click on the image and open it up, you can see all the layers that's in it, and this is the only layer we want for our Valentine. So I'm going to go back. I just copied or Command C, and then I'm going to go back to our canvas and then Command V or paste. So we're gonna make this guy small enough to fit in here and just get him positioned. Now we are going to want for these edges to connect, because if you remember, this is all gonna cut out of the wood. So just to make it a little bit more stable, I'm going to do some things to connect my penguin to the outside of the card frame. So we're going to attempt a heart with our shapes. And I just used the circle to make two ovals, and then I'm going to align them to top and unite them. Next, I'm going to make a triangle with the polygon tool, and the way you do that is you just click on it, click on the polygon tool, and then click on your canvas and just choose 3 sides, and it gives you a triangle. So let's turn this triangle upside down, and to I guess keep it proportionate so that it's like not a smooth move, so that it snaps, you just hold down your shift button and turn it. So I already see that that's going to need to be wider. Those sharp edges will delete out after we get everything united. So there's our heart, and I'm going to select both of these and then click on Unite. Now I'm going to go over here to my pen selection tool and make sure delete anchor point is selected, and delete out those sharp edges that are on the heart. So now we have a heart. Resize it and place wherever you want on your design. I'm actually going to copy this a couple times. You can either do copy and paste, which is Command C or Command V, or you can click on Option, click, and drag. So put a couple of these guys on here, and I just wanted to connect my penguin to the board. Go ahead and get everything placed pretty much how you are going to want it cut out of your paper or with your laser. So now we have all the hearts placed. We need some text that says it's a Valentine's Day card. So I'm going to grab my type tool. Actually, let's change these lines now so that they are easier to see. I haven't connected anything yet. Everything is actually still its own layer. And I'll show you how to fix all of that. But let's put some Valentine's Day text on here. I decided to add a few more hearts to the bottom to score. Now that I have everything situated the way I want to, and before I go on to make the rest of this set, I'm going to show you how to unite everything and to change your line colors and everything. So when I'm using my laser, I use black for cutting, I use green for engraving, and I use red for my score lines. Very simple setup. So I need to make sure that all of my lines are correct. We're going to leave that to and from the way it is. I'm going to select everything that is touching besides the penguin and unite it, and that way it doesn't cut out those hearts. I might need to add another heart right here. Yeah, and unite that too. I'm going to change the colors in my penguin to the stroke lines that I need. This will be a Valentine that they can color themselves. So I want some stroke lines, and I'm going to have some cut lines. So if you notice, the face is two separate lines. I want it to stroke on the inside. And then I want this part to cut. And then that part needs to connect. The outline of the face needs to connect to the actual card. So now all of that is connected. Let me go back a little bit, because I need for this heart to connect to his face also, now that I'm looking at it, and this heart also to connect to his face. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to fix that, and then I'll be right back. Now we have everything that we need united. We need to expand the text and turn it into a path. So to do that, you click on the text, go up to Object and Expand, click OK. So we're doing the same thing. I want this to actually engrave on these, so I'm going to change the outline stroke to green. And the same thing for these. I want these to be red, because I just want them to I just want a stroke line, and then I need to expand this one and do the same thing. So I am gonna go up over here and clean up my groups, and the way I do that is I just select each group and change it to a single path. To make it a path, it's just Command 8, or you can go up here to Object, Compound Path, and Make. And then lastly, I like to group the like colors together. And that's Command G, or you can go up to Object, Group, or Ungroup. So all of the black lines are together. And all of the red lines are together. I'm going to go ahead and finish up this set, and then we'll go over to the laser and cut them. Back over here to the computer in Lightburn, I'm going to open up the file that I want to cut. Go to File, Open, and then I am going to open up the Valentine's Day card file. And everything is the way I need it to be or want it to be. So I'm just going to line them up. And what I want to do is going to line them up. And I'm actually going to fill the sheet. To do that, I'm going to click down here on the Create Array. Use the X for columns and Y for rows to fill up the sheet. So I'll end up with some that I have more of than the others. But the ones that are hanging over the edge, I'm going to get rid of those. And then I'm going to get rid of this bottom row. So the next thing I'm going to do is try to optimize my cut. You want to double check that all of these settings are correct for you. Everything else is good. So if I click here, it shows me how long this cut is going to take. It's not a bad time for a cut, but I'm going to try to group some things together and see if we can't get that time lowered a little bit. So now that we figured out we cannot make the cut times any better, I'm going to go ahead and go back over to the machine and get ready to cut. The first thing I do when I load any new material is to check my focal length. And to check my focal length, I use this caliper here. To find out what my focal length was, I did a ramp test. I just found a video on how to do the ramp test and how to find my focal length. So that's what I'm going to do first. Adjust the caliper and then use the knob to adjust my bed to get the material the correct focal length from my laser head. You can go ahead and send your design over to your laser straight from Lightburn by clicking Send, or you can click Start straight from Lightburn. Go ahead and get your whole design cut out, and when it's done, I like to go in and without moving the whole board, pull one out just to make sure that it cut through. Once you get to learning your laser, you will be able to determine the settings for different materials a little bit easier. And I also changed the settings for my stroke line so it didn't cut all the way through when I went back and recut everything. Once you have your Valentines cut out, you can either leave them blank and send them to school like this, or you can let the kids paint them. But before I show you how I'm going to do that, I'm going to show you how to get rid of these little soot marks or whatever. And all you need is some baby wipes. I use baby wipes for a lot of things, but all you gotta do is just wipe it clean, and it comes right off. And the better your air is on your laser cutter, the less soot you'll get. But you'll definitely want to clean them all up, especially if you're sending them for the kids to paint. And I just paint with paint markers. I have this whole tub of paint markers. Chalk markers also work. If you have any sharp edges from, like here I have this little edge, I'll take a little sanding block and sand that. Once you've gotten everything all cleaned up and you've done any necessary sanding, you can go ahead and go in with your paint markers and paint your wood valentines or whatever it is you've made. I like the smaller tip ones for these just because it's a little bit easier to stay within the lines. I'm horrible at painting and paint markers, so there's also that. But go ahead and get them all colored, or you can send them to school blank and let the kids color them themselves. So, what'd you guys think? Drop me a comment below and let me know what you thought. And I will leave a link to this file down there. See you soon.